there's a decent amount of people that still do it.
I mean,
Whether it's mum and dad investors, whether it's actual big time angel investors, as they say, there's people that want to do it.
right, but there's
Doesn't matter whether you're a big investor, a small investor. You need to make profit. To put a capital gains tax on that is just going.
okay.
All it's going to do
So
is shrink
okay,
profit margins.
so where does that profit come into the country? If you're getting that money and you have that money, you have that. You're an investor. You've bought a house. You bought 4. You bought 5. You bought 10. Right? And you sell them off, and you have that wealth. You have an insane amount of wealth. I don't know, $11 million. I'm not going to give you a number. An insane amount of wealth and an insane amount of assets and housing. How is that translating into the country? Right. So when you buy something, when you buy a good, you get goods and services tax. That gets a percentage, goes towards the government, and pays for stuff. The police force pays for services if you choke on that food, or if you get sick of a food poisoning. It goes. You can go to A&E, and you don't have to pay for that sort of cost, or pay very low. This is the Daily Divide.
So how's it been going anyway?
It's going good. Yeah,
going good.
Finished the work recently. It's like it's 11:30. Perfect time for a debate.
Yeah. Well, discussion, debate, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, hey, look, I just wanted to discuss, seeing seeing what's happened recently with the. It's always a hotly debated topic in New Zealand is having a capital gains tax. What do you think? Yes or no?
Yes. Are we done? Is that us?
No. Well,
no. Yeah.
No. Obviously, I disagree. Well, I don't think so. But
no.
Why do you think? Why do you think we should have?
Opening statements. Okay, opening statements. I got you. So I think the current tax system in New Zealand is really, really flawed. Right, we've only got an essential 3, but we've only got 2 tax revenue streams. We've got income tax and payee, and a what's the other one? God, I'm blanking here. We've got an income tax and a GST. That's the one. Sorry, we've got a GST. Those are the only 2. And we've got the Bright Line test, but it's recently lessened to 2 years. And as I have discussed previously, I don't really class that as another income stream. I think that's a backstop, or a plaster over an open wound. The other tax stream that we had under Labor was the fuel tax and the foreign buyers tax, and we also had the extension of the Bright Line tax, which was reduced previously. So my current problem with the current system is that what we are paying right now, what the current needs that the New Zealand public wants the New Zealand government to pay for everyday services, health, fire, education, and police, and all the basic necessities, basically. We can't keep up with the current system, and it's very simple, right? I don't believe that I don't essentially believe that you shouldn't that people have. Let me get this straight. I don't believe that if you have a lot of money that you are inherently a bad person. I believe in meritocracy. I believe if you work hard enough, you can succeed. But all I'm saying is that there needs to be a leveling of the playing field, and the current services that we, as I said, that we currently fund can't be funded with 2 funding streams at the moment. There needs to be a third put in, and I think a 4th needs to be put in. The wealth. The inequality of wealth in this country is very lopsided, and I think, as you can see with our current prime minister, it's very top heavy, and with the 2.9 billion tax cuts to the landlords, which to the landlords, along with a 3 billion cut to Dunedin Hospital, which is not worth 3 billion. That's just a total lie. It's actually 1.9, but that's a different debate. Um, this is a huge problem, and I think I'm rambling a bit here. Yes, capital gains tax, obviously, yes, at the point of sale.
Okay, well, okay. So basically, like before I make my point, I just ask one question to you, just while we're on the subject. So, why capital gains tax? Why not a luxury tax on electric cars and um or something to that nature? Or do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
no, absolutely. Some people might, so a couple of greenies might, richer greenies, um, might oppose this, but I think that's a valid option. But it actually no, it's not even an option. It's a valid debate about that. But what this comes into is that for the capital gains tax, the current housing system, I haven't really spoken there in my opening comment. The current housing system in this country is very profit drawn. It's assets. We discussed this previously in the last podcast. The current way to get the fastest, the easiest way, the best way to get wealthy in this country is to buy houses and then sell them on as buy another house, equity, sell them on. I've even contemplated it, but for a couple of but things didn't go too well, and I'm not able to follow in that dream because it's a very smart way to invest and get wealthy, and I think that's a problem.
Mhm.
And I think
Well,
if so, very very quickly, sorry, I know I'm rambling here. I think if you
sorry.
tap into that potential and it refunds back into the system, I think, and you refund part of that for social housing, I think that would go
Mm.
very well towards leveling, not only leveling the playing field, which I know you're not too not fond of, but you don't believe in. It would also
No,
give
no.
more revenue to fund healthcare and other
Okay,
means and
well,
education and
here
all that. Yeah, carry on. Sorry,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
sorry,
here's what
sorry.
when you say I'm not fond of leveling the playing field, I absolutely am. I think it's absolutely a thing we need to do, but I disagree with the way to go about it. You think what you think, but I think absolutely not. I don't believe in a capital gains tax because here's why. Like for example, what's happening with Luxon? People are jumping up and down because of where he's been, but like where he's been before he was prime minister,
Mm,
what he's done before he's prime minister. For
mm,
example, that's why they're jumping up and down. If, for example, if someone like Jacinda Ardern was in, right, and I know she didn't do this, and she owned two or three homes,
mm,
and maybe that this, and she sold them like he did within his term, and basically, right, she would have made less money, but she would have made a profit on it. I really doubt whether the media would be jumping up and down as much as they are now on Luxon. The only reason they're doing it is because of who he is and what he's done. they go, look, all they're saying is rich CEO before he's prime minister. He's done really well for himself, and now, and now everybody's saying
He started off as
pretty
a
much,
management trainee, so he carry on. Sorry.
basically, all everyone's saying is, look, oh my God, he's made close to $500,000 in untaxable income. Well, the thing is he's taken the risk to get to where he's got to. He's worked hard.
Could you
The only reason people are jumping up and down now are because of his positions before he was a prime minister.
I think I want to get to that point, but could you go back and do your opening point on the capital gains tax and completely remove yourself from Chris Luxon, and I'll address that point you made there.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
hear.
absolutely, absolutely. Look, I absolutely disagree on a capital gains tax because all it's doing is basically, I'll keep it short and sweet, it's taxing people that invest to make their lives better, and I absolutely oppose it, because there's different ways to get income for a country. Like, going, oh yeah, we need a wealth tax or a capital gains tax. Yeah, absolutely disagree. Absolutely, because all it's doing is it'll disincentivize investors.
Not true.
Whether that's it's absolutely true.
It's just not
It
true
will
though.
disincentivize people, because like,
Most of the OECD has a capital. Most of the world has a capital gains tax of some sort. So the United States has a capital gains tax. Australia has a capital gains tax. The UK has a capital gains tax. So I think, and they've got, and the Tories and the Conservatives, they have been chipping away at their tax system for years, and they've not been able to get to the capital gains tax. So I think it's a bit absurd to say that it would influence investment. I think it would go well to disincentivize housing as a profit motive, because I think that is a problem. But
it
just
will
to say that it'll ruin,
disincentivize people.
to say that would ruin investment is just like,
It will ruin investment. Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why it will? I think it will absolutely disincentivize investments into
what?
housing. Into housing, because
right.
Because biggest point, because of the house prices where they are currently, it will absolutely disincentivize people, because of how high the prices are to buy a property, to then try and sell the property after paying, say, $975,000, to try and sell the property. And of course, every time you buy something, you want to make a profit. Regardless of how much, you want to make a profit. You buy a business, you run a business. If you have an exit plan, you want to make a profit. You buy a house, 2 houses, whatever. You pay whatever you pay for it, you will always want to make a profit. That is absolutely, hands down, anything you do, you want to make a profit, you want to make progress.
So
My point is, at the current house prices, to then put a capital gains tax on property, there will be no money to be made whatsoever. That's why it will disincentivize investors.
Boom. So could you give me instances around the world where a country has a capital gains tax where investment, not in housing specifically, just overall business investment has gone down or is impacted negatively? Could you give me any example whatsoever?
Well, what's that got to do with the capital gains tax? I'm trying to understand.
We're talking about a capital gains tax. Is there any country that currently has a capital gains tax where you can point to and say that has been has had a negative effect on that country economically?
Well, I'm not in a position to say, and I'm not going to, because I'm not informed. But
There is no. I've looked at this. There is no
what I
impact.
will say, yes, but what I will
Negative
say, regardless of what's happening there, I'm focused on what's happening here. The property market is very expensive to buy a house. If whoever bought that property off Chris Luxon for $975,000, or however much they bought it for, right? I know you don't want me to.
It's not going to be a family of five, though, is it?
To go into this, but family of five, fucking investor, doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything. Basically,
means everything.
Not right now. I'm but here's the thing. Whoever paid $970,000 for the apartment, Kate Shepherd bloody square or whatever, where Kate Shepherd building or something. Here's the thing. They paid $975,000, whoever it was. They then want to make a profit on that apartment. To then say, look, you're going to have to pay a capital gains tax, right? That means they're going to have to then sell it for even more money. There's already no room to move.
Whoa, this is amazing.
There's already no room to move in the housing market in New Zealand.
I've just recognised your philosophy. So do you genuinely think that every single okay, right? Do you believe everybody should have a place in this country should be able to sleep in a warm area? It doesn't necessarily mean a house, but an apartment, house, whatever, a state house. Do you believe every person should have that ability and to retire without going into bankruptcy?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Okay. So what you just described, right, is you believe that that everyone profit. Absolutely right. If you sell a house, you want to profit or have that equity to buy another house and to not lose money on it. Absolutely. How many people do you think? Let me ask you this: how many people do you think are looking to do? How many families? How many working people who are just going to work back and have a house, paying off a mortgage? How many people do you think are looking to do that?
Well, there's a decent amount of people that still do it.
I mean,
Whether it's mum and dad investors, whether it's actual big time angel investors, as they say, there's people that want to do it.
Right, but there's
Doesn't matter whether you're a big investor, a small investor. You need to make profit. To put a capital gains tax on that is just going.
Okay.
All it's going to do is shrink profit margins.
So where does that profit come into the country? If you're getting that money and you have that money, you have that. You're an investor. You've bought a house. You bought 4. You bought 5. You bought 10. Right? And you sell them off, and you have that wealth. You have an insane amount of wealth. I don't know, $11 million. I'm not going to give you a number. An insane amount of wealth and an insane amount of assets and housing. How is that translating into the country, right? So when you buy something, when you buy a good, you get goods and services tax. That gets a percentage, goes towards the government and pays for stuff. The police force pays for services if you choke on that food, or if you get sick of a food poisoning. It goes. You can go to A&E and you don't have to pay for that sort of cost, or pay very low. And then there's a service that also pays for the service by New Zealand government to investigate this food poisoning from the specific shop and to deal with it. Right.
Okay.
My point is, I prioritize higher being able to afford stuff that can get you. So, okay, I'm rambling here. I've just noticed I'm rambling here. What would your solution be to pay for the government programs that do all the things that I've just described, which I have said, and for a fact, that with the current tax system, we cannot pay for. So
basically, I gave you one example earlier, but for example, a luxury tax on
right. How many people do you think that's gonna? Because the thing is,
well, it's actually going to affect people. It's actually going to affect the people that you want it to affect.
Okay.
So it's going to affect people that I don't want it to affect.
So there goes to my point. How many people do you think are going to be buying houses and buying houses and then buying, selling houses and buying up their houses? How many people do you think are going to be, have a median income of 50 grand and just be working class and heading back to work and just, waiting for the week to end? And
I don't understand your point. What I'm saying is, when you say
a luxury tax on electric cars is going to affect the people you want it to affect,
but
then you also a capital gains tax is not going to affect who's it negatively affecting? People that can't afford it. Is that going to be affecting? Sorry, let me rephrase that.
Well, it's going to be affecting everybody, a capital gains tax. Everybody who owns a property, right? Say it's never going to be like this, but say you buy a house for $400,000.
When people buy houses, they're not intending on a profit. They're intending for another house. They want to get another house. If you're going to sell a house like this house, you're not going to buy 2 or 3 more houses, or sell this one and buy 2 or 3. If you're gonna move, you're gonna move. Historically, if you buy a house, you stay in that house until you retire or you choose to move.
But here's the thing. Here's what I'm saying.
The
You're
idea
basically
that
saying,
it's going to affect
if,
people,
okay, so I'm saying,
it's
right,
absurd.
if you buy one house and then you sell a house, right, to buy another house, say you pay $400,000 for a house, and even if you're going to move to another house,
Yeah,
and you sell that house you paid for $400,000,
yeah,
you sell it for $650,000, $700,000. You then pay a tax on all that profit you just made. Then you have to buy another house to go ahead and live in. That is exactly
it's
what
absurd.
I absolutely agree with you on that.
No, your whole premise is absurd. So you don't. So obviously, when I say a capital gains tax, absolute, that's ridiculous, right?
That
Usually,
is a capital gain.
Capital gains tax usually affects more wealthy individuals. That's just the fact, right? And it affects older people who have money. But you believe that housing should be okay. I just want to bring this back here because I think we're going around in circles a couple of times, and we're doing a bit of loopy loops. So, do you believe that a house, or an apartment, or it should be a piece of asset that you can get rich off of?
If that's what you want to do, absolutely.
Right. Do you believe that there's any other way in this country to be able to do that thing, to be wealthy? And that is not guaranteed, but with a roadmap is not assured. That's not the right word. There is a plan there that you can get wealthy off on.
Oh yes, absolutely.
What is that?
Well, you can, if you can start businesses.
Right.
You can you can invest in business.
Right. And that's property.
You can, well, whether you could pretty much. Are we talking property only, or are we talking anything else other than property? Because there's plenty of other stuff that you can do
other than property.
Okay, so you can start a business.
Okay.
You could, if you're you could start a business, and you could start your own cafe. You could
A business, yeah.
Just a business in general,
You can
right?
start a business.
You could have your own logistics company.
Okay.
Well,
Right.
anything.
That's
pretty
beneficial.
much.
A business, a logistics
You can invest
company.
in the stock markets.
Like, look,
You can.
I'll tell you now. So a business. Okay, let's go with a cafe. Like when you have a cafe, what sort of tax goes into that? When you have the goods, you buy I don't know, coffee and that, and you sell coffee, and you sell scones and stuff. What sort of tax is involved in that?
Well, you get taxed on your income.
And
probably
what?
And your GST.
Yes, there we go. So
which basically, I'll stop you there because I don't think you understand how GST works when it comes to business. Your GST.
Enlighten me.
Your GST, right? When you earn over $35,000, or not even earn over $35,000, if everything that you buy for your business, all the GST that is involved in that,
right,
you get back at the end of the tax year.
Absolutely, I get that.
So
that's not my point. That money is going to the government and funding for resources. Yeah, I'm not discounting that. I'm not saying that
it is.
It is,
but it's not really.
Because
basically all the government does when it comes to that is borrows it off you and gives it back to you.
Yes.
That's all. Yes. That's all they're doing. So pretty much only but this is not what you're getting.
Redistributed. And not on the communist, not that kind. Redistributed into.
But well, not 3 months. But here's what I'm saying. Right?
Where did you get that number, Linux? 3 months.
Well, 3 months, 6 months.
You pulled that out of your ass. Okay, cool.
That's the accountant's job and all that. But what I'm saying is,
there we go. Yeah.
Well, here's what I'm saying. and then okay, so
Like,
say you
sorry,
needed.
I just wanted to finish my point when I brought. So you brought up businesses. Those taxes go to the government. That's just a fact. It does. Whether or not you want to discount, it just goes back to the public. That's the whole point of taxes. The government's not just building up a vault of money in its big reserve bank vault and going, you can't have any of this. It's going back to the public via infrastructure projects, ideally. And in other programs.
Yeah, and then at
So
the end of the tax year, all that GST you
so that's
pay
beneficial,
goes
and
back.
not only that, people are going to buy resources and stuff and things
Yes.
for themselves that they can eat and for all the other stuff. If it's logistics hub,
Yes.
it's a useful piece of infrastructure.
Yes, but
Mainframe.
actually,
Let me tell you this. No, let me tell you this. What is the benefit of not having? Let's push aside capital gains tax. What's the benefit of getting wealthy on property ownership?
well,
With no regulation. What's the
you're not
benefit?
getting what I'm trying to say here. Just before we continue,
Go on, answer it.
this is what I'm
What's
saying.
no, sorry.
No. Let me finish my point. I'll let you finish yours. You sit there and shut up for a second. Look,
No, you shut up.
15%, right? That's your GST. Okay.
Yes.
Here's what I'm trying to say. You get that back every year. So if you had a $40,000 GST bill, you take $40,000 back. So basically, all they're doing is you're paying them, they're paying you back. So really, it's not really doing anything. The only people who are actually paying GST.
Okay, sorry. What do you think? What do you think taxes are supposed to be?
No. What I'm saying is the business. So if I had $40,000 worth of GST, right? My business at the end of the tax year gets that back, and then I can go and buy something else for $40,000.
So how do you
That's
think
my
we
money.
fund for Jesus Christ? How do you think we fund things?
I'll tell you how we fund it.
Okay.
I'll tell you how we fund it.
Don't
And
say
it's
we borrow because that's just.
Well, we do that, but that's not the point. The point is who can't claim back GST?
Everyday people.
That's where they get the money from, which is actually how it works. So basically, what I'm trying to say to you is,
my point still stands. My point still stands. So do you think we should get rid of the GST?
No, absolutely not. I love it.
So you think wealthy individuals who buy houses, or people who try to get wealthy off a property, an asset to people, should not be taxed, but everyday working people, low income, more predominantly because there's the majority, should be taxed on things that they buy and should be taxed on their income.
Well, here's the thing.
So someone like Christopher Luxon, which I think we'll get to later on, obviously. So for someone like Christopher Luxon, who's got a $400,000 a year or $480,000 a year salary along with a $20,000 allowance, can get rich tax-free almost $1 million or around $500,000. No, sorry, it's $500,000 tax-free in the year.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm trying to say is when it comes to, I'm trying to come to a thing where it's with GST is if you're paying GST as a business, right, and then you're just getting it back at the end of the year, that
it's not a part of the debate, though.
No, it is because you brought it up.
I did bring it up, but my point was that was a part of that's the benefit. That's the benefit. That's the benefit that businesses and that go to. No, you're trying. No,
how it works.
No, I understand your point. I understand the point you're trying to make, but that's not. That is the benefit. The benefit you can't explain the benefit of owning multiple properties and selling them on tax free. You can't mention that benefit for the wider public because there is no benefit other than hiked up rents. And so you brought up businesses. I brought up the fact GST and an income tax is involved, and that benefits the government and the public.
Okay,
but then you say that the business can do can take that money back, and that it would usually affect people who would buy a coffee or other things. That's irrelevant because it's still benefiting those people and the public. But then you saying we shouldn't get rid of GST tax because it's funds the government.
No,
I get your point 100%, but you're trying to obfuscate.
No. What I'm trying to say is you're saying that there's businesses pay GST, businesses pay income tax, right? That's where we're going. What I'm saying is, how much if I could claim back all my GST, this is just a question for you, right?
Yes.
If I can claim back all my GST that I just paid to the government, they're basically giving it back to me, right? How much benefit, say I paid $50,000 worth of GST, how much benefit does it actually give the wider public if they're just giving me back the money I've given them?
So which context is this? Is this an individual person or a business?
Well, a business, company, sole trader. I'm just saying, if say I had a cafe, right? I paid $40,000 worth of GST.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about a trader.
It doesn't matter whether it's a company or a sole trader.
What if it's a trader or a company that buys property and buys houses in that hypothetical scenario? Because it is hypothetical. You're just trying to obfuscate from the point. What if sells that property for an increased profit? A capital gain.
What about it? We're talking about the GST. I'm trying to tell you. I'm asking you a question about the. I'm asking you a question about the GST.
No, but you can't answer. You can't answer any positive impact of not having a capital gains.
I will answer it.
And I'm telling you here, a GST and income tax comes into play when you own a business logistics hub.
Yes, it comes.
What comes into play when you own but it's still invests in the company.
Answer my question. If
I did answer your question.
Okay. I didn't get an answer. So, if I paid $50,000 in GST to the government over the year,
yeah,
right? If they refund it to me, right?
Yes.
This is me owning a cafe, right?
Yeah.
And then they refund it to me. After I've paid them $50,000, they refund it to me.
So this is small business, right? This is small business. This is not a corporation.
It doesn't matter how fucking big the business
usually
is.
It's a small business. It would reinvest that.
I don't give a fuck.
Reinvest
I don't give a...
Big words. He swore. Oh, naughty. I'm getting under his skin. I
don't care how big the business is. I'm asking you a question.
Yes.
Right? If I paid $50,000 in GST and they're just going to give it back to me at the end of the tax year,
yeah.
How much benefit does that actually give the wider community?
A huge amount of benefit because it's still a tax and it's still going towards the government. How do you think we are paying for stuff?
But if they're just giving me the money,
hospitals didn't come out of thin air in the 70s.
Okay, so if I'm giving them the money, if they're giving me back the money I've just given them,
yes,
then do you understand what I'm saying? They're actually getting nothing from me.
But there's still revenue going into the government. It's still revenue going into the public, and it's going to a wider range.
Do you not get it? They're refunding me all that money.
We're going away from the point anyway. So even in that hypothetical scenario, which I can understand, you take. I'm not saying I don't understand what you're saying, but I'm also saying, how the fuck do you think we have roads?
But how's my money paying for that?
It still is. We've got two taxes. A GST and income. I'm trying to tell you here. Where do we get that money? Right.
Okay, so my GST is not paying for it. Is that what you're saying?
It is. Obviously it is.
But if they're just giving it back to me at the end of the year...
Oh, I'm going to be honest here. I don't know. I don't know the intricacies of tax law. Do you want me to be interested? And I don't think you do either. But I'm telling you, there is a point A and point B. How the fuck do we get schools? And this is a different debate, okay? Can we pull it back to capital gains tax? Because my whole point, the reason why I brought it back up, and
yes, and I will answer your question. I will answer your question now that I've understood what you're saying. If you just re-ask it, we'll get back to it, and I'll answer the question.
So I brought that up, and I gave you to give those examples because I said income tax and GST.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two taxes that are involved with with owning a business logistics hub and a business in general, right? can you give me a financial benefit that the public receives when you buy and sell a piece of property as an investment?
Financial benefit to the wider public?
Yes.
Sure. So if you want to go off what the GST, right, what you were saying about GST, okay. Here's what I'll say. If you own multiple properties and you've had tenants in there, which you would if you own multiple properties,
Yes.
everything that you buy to improve that property, i.e., get it up to the healthy home standard, is involved. Everything you buy for it, like if you had to paint it or you had to put new carpet in or curtains
Right, but
or
what's the
whatever.
direct benefit? What are the
No,
taxes involved?
here's GST.
Okay.
GST, because everything that you buy for the investment property has a goods and services tax attached to it.
But you're not going to keep doing that over and over again, right?
Well, you would have to.
Come again?
If you would have to, because you have to constantly keep it up to the healthy home standard. On top of, if you were, for example, what you're saying is if you keep buying houses and buying houses, you would continually have to do it. On top of, if you had that many, on top of you're helping business, local business. For example, right, if I owned 5-6 properties, I had them rented out, I would have to employ a land agent to look after those properties.
Okay.
So then I'm employing people to help me look after my investment. That business is then making money, helping them. They paying GST. I pay GST on all the improvements. If my house needs a new roof, the house needs a new roof, get the new roof put on. There's GST attached to that. Then the people that are actually renting the house off me are getting a nice place to live according to the law. Of course, we all follow what needs to be followed. They've got a nice place to live. I'm paying GST. Everyone wins. That's how.
Interesting. So you're bringing up you brought up GST. So why? I'm gonna be a bit of a shithead. Why would you bring up GST in this situation for it to benefit you, but then you spend 5 minutes completely discounting my argument?
Well, because what I was trying to say is, if
so how would it? I just want to go on along this tangent. How would it benefit the government? How would it benefit the public because you can just hold that GST back?
Because if you own 1, 2, 3 properties, because unless you're making $35,000 or more in profit, you have to be making $35,000 or more in profit to be GST registered. If you're not GST registered, you cannot claim GST back, right? Otherwise, everyone would claim GST. If you have mortgages on 5,
a tax
6
that
properties,
benefits the wealthy,
if
large business owners.
Exactly what I was trying to say to you, but again, it doesn't matter.
Whoa! So what's the CGT
here's
for?
What I'm saying. No. Here's what I'm trying to say. If you own 5 or 6 properties, usually they're mortgaged. They're mortgaged because you've just used equity.
Yeah.
You're not going to make profit. You're just paying the bill. Right. So you're not going to be GST registered because you're not making over $35,000 a year. Okay. So you're not claiming the GST.
Yeah.
So all that GST that if I had to put a new roof and new carpet, new curtains, fucking new oven.
God, you can't stop swearing.
new ovens, new bench top, whatever needed to be done, installation, all that money, not only the GST goes to the government, all that money goes to local businesses. The new roof goes to the roofer, the carpet goes to the carpet company, the carpet money, the roof money, curtains people, kitchen people. That's how it benefits the public.
Right. Okay. So so you're talking about someone who owns multiple properties and doesn't repeatedly sell them off, or even lets people be tenants. Which I think that's a good argument there. I think the rebuttal I have for that is that how is that So obviously, how is that a constant income source for the public, right? Because that's not going to happen every year. It's not even going to happen every month. It's a very it's a good point. I'm not saying it's not a good point. I'm not completely throwing it out the window. What I'm saying is that for an income tax and that it is, I get paid weekly, right? And a portion of that, I think it's like 20% or something like that. I can't remember what my thing is, and I'm not going to say what it is because that's private information. A portion of that goes to the government. Same with GST. If I buy a bottle of Coke, and I'm probably more likely to buy, not a bottle of Coke, but things. How is that in conjunction with someone buying, renovating a house for it to either be sold on or for it to be rented out? How is that the same? Because obviously the amount of times it's going to happen, it's not. What's how does that reflect? Like, do you understand what I mean? Right?
What I will say is, like, look, you got to remember,
How is that
you're
comparable?
not.
Right? How is that comparable?
Yes. But okay, I'll answer it like this. Remember how you were asking me a question about people should have somewhere to sleep and a nice place to live, right?
Yes.
That is also what this does for people. Maybe it's not always going to directly correlate into the tax system, evil system, but this may not always directly correlate into the tax system or directly correlate with buying a Coke, but it is giving people somewhere nice to live, somewhere where they can feel safe and secure. That's the service that is offered on top of all the stuff that has to be done for them to then live in the house. And then that money, right, that they pay, a portion of that goes to my land agent. That business is making money every week.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to pay their GST or pay their taxes. They're going to buy Coke bottles and coffees and stuff like that. It's it's a flow-on effect. That's how it's going to work.
So you're talking about trickle down economics, which doesn't work. You're going into trickle down economics, which doesn't work. So sorry, but I'm not saying I disagree with your point that someone buys 4 houses and does all that. It does. It benefits.
Mm-hmm.
This is subject a bit of a tangent. So in that case, would you support rent caps for people that need homes in that situation? Because you believe in privatized housing. Would you support an affordable rent cap on prices, rent prices?
Yes, I would.
Cap on rent. Sorry,
I would, as long as it's doable, as long as it's
What do you mean by that?
Like we can't, obviously, if you want to cap rents, you have to cap rates. If you want to cap rates and rents, you have to have the cost of the property needs to be lower. You can't, for example, you can't keep putting your rates up 25%. And that's the other thing, by the way. That's the other thing. Just while we're on it, when you rent a house out, the landlord pays the rates. That's another tax that local government gets. Maybe it doesn't go to central government, but it helps pay for the local infrastructure, right? That's another thing. And
which I agree is scuffed, but we both agree is scuffed. But yeah,
when the rates go up 25% every year, the rents can't be capped, right? Because the landlords need to, they need to find the money from somewhere, so the rents have to go up. It's like if the price of milk and coffee beans go up, the price of a large cup of coffee goes up 10-20 cents. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's the same premise.
Yes, and we've spoken but multiple times. We're going into subject, and we should probably finish now. But I just want to say very quickly, absolutely, the rate system is scuffed, and also I think we both agree that does influence in landlords. And that is a part of a thing that needs to be fixed, and I think influences partially with the current costs of houses. But I think another portion of that, we'll do our closing statements, and then we'll talk about Luxon. We'll do another debate on Luxon, because I think we went on too long and we can't stick around. I know you're moderator, or I'm moderator. We're both moderators. This is Ultimate Frisbee. I just want to say really quickly, that is also part of lowering houses. I think getting refitting the rate system, which is not part of this conversation, and make it more suitable to each regional area. And also introducing a capital gains tax would introduce and redistribute wealth for for everyday people. And it would part of that, it would be another income stream that can pay for things like the Dunedin Hospital, like for IRX, like for increased public transportation, increased better benefit, public education, for among among other things. And the transition we're going to, I think, with the next debate we're going to have is our current.
No.
I was going to say Commander in Chief, is our current Prime Minister in the way, and also has a conflict of interest with his holdings.
Well, I don't think so.
Do you finish your thoughts?
I'll close off. I obviously don't agree, because they've never, National itself has never
Finishing thoughts.
ordered a capital gains tax. But closing thoughts, absolutely no capital gains tax from me. Keep it away. I think, I stick to my point. It will disincentivize investors to invest in property. Yes, I think that's all I have to say on the matter. I'm not going to go into a big spiel about what I think it's going to happen to, where it's going to go, because 9 times out of 10, it won't go where it's supposed to go. Signing out.
Bye.